Good morning and welcome. So, this morning's topic is all about cleaning and clearing out because now it is the end of 2018 and we're coming up on the last couple of weeks of the year. And as we're doing that, all of us on some level are looking forward to a new, fresh start. January 2019, I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. All of us on some level are doing a little bit of that. With that being said, the end of December, and particularly right now, is a really great time to start looking inside, looking at what can be cleared and what can be cleaned out. And so one of my favorite exercises is to reconcile with other people. So if we are walking into 2019 with any grievances, any anger, any guilt, any shame, this is the perfect time to take a look at that and be in a way with yourself that would clean and clear that out. So one of the exercises I'm going to share with you today is how to properly apologize. And I know that sounds crazy because I know that, when we're little kids, and I've got 3 children of my own, when there is a mistake being made that actually may have harmed someone else or hurt someone else's feelings or something like that, we encourage our children to go and say, "I'm sorry." And, as children, they sometimes do, sometimes they resist. And then it is our job to share with them why or how. And a lot of us don't know exactly how to apologize and why we are apologizing and what it is all for. Is it just words? Are we just exchanging words? Or are we doing something greater? So what I want to invite you to do is take a look at the doing something greater thing. Because ultimately, as a spiritual teacher and as somebody who's dedicated to the rise in consciousness of all of us, I live from the premise that we are all one, and that we are interconnected. And that saying, when the tide rises, all boats rise. I truly believe that. And so this exercise on properly apologizing is actually one practice of oneness, a practice of that powerful exercise of our interconnectedness. So with that being said, the first thing that you're going to do when you need to apologize to somebody is to acknowledge what has been done, just facts, not the justifications. So it's not like, "Oh, I'm sorry that 10 years ago I cheated on you, but the reason why I did it is because," that's not going to work. So then step number 1 is to acknowledge the fact. I realized that 10 years ago, I cheated on you, period. Facts and facts alone. Because everything else is an interpretation or a meaning that you made up or a justification for the wrongdoing or for the misstep. So leave all of that out. Just step number 1 is to acknowledge what is so. What were the facts? And then number 2 is to put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. It doesn't matter right or wrong. The ego knows right and wrong. The ego wants to be in control. The ego wants to look good. We're not talking about a practice in egoic exercise here. We do enough of that. We're doing a practice of spirit. We're doing a practice of our interconnectedness and something that is truly going to have an effect on your relationship. So when I say in step number 2 is to put yourself in their shoes, I really genuinely mean it. This is a very sacred practice. So when you're doing that, you're going into your heart and you're imagining what it must have been like for them. And then do not allow your ego to not let you feel the feeling. This is an imperative part of the practice. You go into your heart, drop into it, and imagine what it would have been like for that person. And then you feel the feelings. And once you have it, you may experience them. Occasionally you're crying. Now your ego will dip that into guilt or shame, and that's not this practice. This practice is for you to only feel what it must have felt like for them if you were them. And then step number 3 is to then reach out to that human being, reach out to that person, and share with them, hey, acknowledging the facts without interpretation, without justification. Say, I imagined what it must have been like for you, or, and this is how I felt. So I'm imagining that you must have felt blah, blah, blah. You must have felt abandoned. You must have felt betrayed. You may have felt really hurt. You may have felt like you weren't attractive. You may have felt scared. Anything, any of the emotions that you felt when you put yourself in their shoes, share with them that they may have or must have felt this way. And then you be quiet and you allow them to receive the gift. And the gift is that you finally have put yourself in their position. Finally, their feelings, their thoughts have been validated from this event. And then step number 4, you extend the apology, or you ask for forgiveness, or whatever other means that you would like to extend in order to experience reconciliation on a spiritual level. And then step number 5, if it applies, you can share with them the next steps in your own evolution and what you are going to be doing from now on, given that revelation. Because that always sometimes makes people feel like, okay, that circle has been closed. And I know being on the other end of this, it feels amazing. On a spiritual level, you feel heard, seen, and acknowledged as a human being. So that being said, on our road to rising together, Namaste.